Picking up where we left off, the narrative point of view in this story is third person limited. We only know what Charlie thinks, and so we can ask ourselves, is he a sympathetic character? Now, why would we think that, or why would we not? As a reader, I think he is a sympathetic character because he has changed his life. He realizes that he made some really bad mistakes during the 20s, and he wants to do better. He wants to take care of his daughter and have a relationship with his daughter. He kind of accepts, right, that the Peters are doing the best they can for her, and he can appreciate the fact that they do have a warm home environment for their own children and for his daughter. But Marion, right, is another story. So we only see her through the narrator's eyes, which is also through then Charlie's eyes, because Charlie reports what he thinks about her. And, it's all very negative, right? She seems to be a very stern person who is very rigid. She's very judgmental. Yes, he made bad mistakes, but it doesn't seem like that the actual being locked out of the house in this bad weather is what caused her sister to die. She had a heart condition. So, even though she blames Charlie, though, for her death, and she has, very little ability to feel like he has changed. She seems to be oversensitive, right, when he says the word damn, and then she calls him on that, even though that's really, it's not really anything very crude or ugly to say. And as soon as the Duncan Schaefer and Lorraine Quarles come into her home, she immediately decides that she cannot trust Charlie with Honoria. But, it's not like he wanted them to be there. It's not like he's behaving the same way. Or, again, it seems happy to see them. So it seems like her responses are maybe, she overreacts. She has too rigid standards of what she would like other people to do. And then Lincoln, right, seems to be much more sympathetic. He tries to be kind of a peacemaker between Marion and Charlie. And I think we can admire him for taking his wife's side, and wanting to protect her health and her feelings in the matter, even though we may feel like, well, again, she's overreacting and that Charlie shouldn't have to wait, let's say, 6 more months before they can discuss the possibility of Honoria coming to live with him again. Lorraine comes across, I think, as very unlikable and unsympathetic. Since she has not learned, anything from the past, and she remembers still in the tricycle and acting in wild, crazy ways in Paris as being, a great thing, something that she wants to continue on doing. She says, I don't feel old at all, even at 30, not that 30 is an old age, but it's not like she has matured and grown in the time that Charlie has known her. Then we think about the use of language, the different allusions there are in this story. So here we have Josephine Baker, and she was a singer and dancer. But of course there were fewer opportunities, much fewer opportunities for black women in the U.S. at this time period. So many went to Europe, and they were able to have better opportunities and their talents and abilities be better appreciated. And she was, of course, then born in the U.S., but she renounced her U.S. citizenship for French citizenship. But she was very popular in the left bank bars and cabarets. which is again where Charlie goes. He travels in from the right bank over to the left bank that night when he gets there, and wants to kind of remember his past. And so the left bank is a wilder side. They had all the clubs and the can dancers. All of the types of entertainment that would have been on the more risque side. And so when we say Babylon Revisited, there is an allusion to Paris as Babylon. So a place where people indulge in materialism and sensual pleasure. So Charlie has come back to that place, which was where he and his wife and friends had, again, kind of gone crazy with their excesses. There's then some strong imagery in this story, especially in the images of distance, separation. So one of them is when, even though Charlie is very happy to have spent time with Honoria and knowing that she wants to live with him, but when she goes back into the house there where the Peters live, even though she kisses her fingers and waving to him goodbye, they are separated. There is a window that separates the father from the daughter. And so, even though Charlie would like to bring them together, it's kind of foreshadowed with this imagery of them being separated by the window. And then when Charlie dreams about Helen swinging, he can't hear what she's saying. So again, there's that distance, there's separation, and of course she's dead in the story, and so obviously he can't hear what she would. Maybe he thinks that she would advise him if she were still alive. Then symbolism. Honoria, right, the daughter's name is meaningful. It symbolizes Charlie's lost honor. Right? So again, something that he regrets. He feels like he had that at one time, but then he lost it. Notice how he tells Marion and Lincoln that, he did work hard for a long time. It was only when he made so much money that it didn't seem worthwhile that he quit and came to Europe. And so there was a time, when he felt he was a hard-working, responsible individual, and then he lost it. And then Lorraine Quarles, her last name, symbolizes the conflict that she brings to the situation. She causes that quarrel between Marion and Charlie at the end. And then we have the symbolism of the streets of Paris versus the inside of Lincoln and Marion's home. So outside, right, there's sadness, there is loneliness, perhaps danger, but especially more have the danger of idolizing that past when you would go into those clubs and bars and restaurants and then again think that everything that you wanted, you could just make happen by throwing some money out for people and not having to think about any of the consequences of your action. But inside their home, right, it's cozy, it's warm, it's safe, it's not a luxurious lifestyle, but it's where they can be a family and again, feel that they are a family that cares about each other and not going to let anything bad happen to the children or each other. The themes in this story, well, people can't erase their past. The past informs the present. Yes, people can change, but it doesn't mean that they don't have to take those experiences into account. You can't just say, here, I'm going to have a new day today. Nothing from the past is going to affect that. And there is the desire to forget and the inability to forget. So there are many things that Charlie would like to forget about what he did during the 20s there, but he is reminded of those things when somebody says something, when he sees something. With the note that Lorraine writes him, and he's reminded of that, of stealing the tricycle and again, running wild around Paris, not caring about how that affected somebody else. And there's a theme that expresses how it is terrible, to lose money, especially the way people lost it in the stock market crash of 1929. But it's far worse to lose the people you love and your self-respect. Money is something that you can possibly regain again, but if a loved one dies, right, you cannot regain that person, and it's hard to come back and regain your self-respect after you have done so many things, tearing it down. Archetypes in this story? Well, definitely Charlie broke taboos with his decadent lifestyle, and he does want forgiveness, right? He would like for Marion to forgive him, and that way she's going to let Honoria go and live with him. He's not like Miss Emily, where he doesn't care, right, what people think. Right? He's just going to do his own thing and let the chips fall where they may. And also, there's a circular journey, right? We begin the story, he's at the bar at the Ritz. And then at the end of the story, he is back there. So in Paris, the Ritz bar seems to be his real home. But a bar is not a real home, which is a sad fact that many people, alcoholics especially, never can realize that. But again, it leaves us in doubt about whether Charlie could ever have a true home with his daughter after everything that they have been through.